This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Natasha Diaz, Assistant Director for the Building Department. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome new and return CSS users. If it's your first CSS training, thanks for being here. If you had CSS training before, I'm happy you're back because there have been some system updates since the last training. Some housekeeping items before we get started. This session is being recorded and will be posted on our website, miamibeachfl.gov/online permits. Please remain muted throughout the presentation. You may type your questions and comments in the chat, and at the end of the presentation, we will try to answer as many questions as time permits. Please keep your questions and comments pertinent to this training and for the benefit of all. Any specific permit questions that you have, you can always email me. And full disclosure, I did pre-record the screen sharing part of this training in order to mitigate any connectivity and sound issues. If we do have any sound issues throughout the presentation, please send me a message in the chat. But I'm here, I will be answering questions in the chat. The presentation is about 38 minutes long, and then we'll take the rest of the time to answer any questions. Okay, what we're covering today, we'll do a tour of the building department website, www.miamibeachfl.gov/building. We'll tour the CSS and the applicable building department areas. We'll apply for a new permit. We're going to do the BOA. We'll apply for the BOA. We'll check the status of permits and applied status, resubmissions of reworks. We'll look at issued permits and scheduling inspections. So here we go. The building department website is www.miamibeachfl.gov/building. We have talented staff who maintain this page sharp and updated as often as needed. At the top, we post announcements that are important for you to see. And as those announcements get older and we have newer announcements, then the older announcements get collapsed into here. Click the plus sign to expand the collapsed announcements. Answers to frequently asked questions can be found here. The Miami Beach Building Department is proudly ISO 9001 certified for our quality management system and policies. Part of our quality management system includes our SOP, Standard Operating Procedures. Similar to the FAQs, the SOP can help answer most of your questions. If you can't find answers in the FAQs, take a look at the SOP and you may find your answers here. It's 378 pages of procedures and forms. You can click on the content and it will take you directly to that page. If you still do not find the answers you're looking for here, then feel free to contact us. Contact information for the department can be found by clicking on Contact Us. Here you will find general email addresses for specific topics and also specific email addresses for specific staff. We want to know what you think. The good, the bad, suggestions, constructive criticism, and of course, praise. As a government organization, we cannot accept any items as a thank you for our service, but comments are welcome and helpful to keep us informed if the department or someone specifically is on the right track to successfully serving you. The survey can be taken anonymously. Scrolling down to our top links, you'll find links to our most frequented pages, including specific instructions for contractors' license and insurance requirements, a forms page with all the forms we may require, information on inspections, permits, violations, flood, and links to our interactive permit guide and citizen self-service. I want to take some time to go over specifically the Online Permitting Resource Center page, as all of our permitting is now done online. This page should be a helpful tool in helping you to navigate the online permitting steps and requirements. The Apply Here is a direct link to the Citizen Self-Service, or CSS for short, where you actually apply and manage the permits. But before you apply, it's important to go over the instruction guides in order to make sure that you are applying correctly and to avoid losing any time. On this page, you will find instruction guides and videos, including previously recorded sessions, and today's training session will be posted here. Information on methods for digitally signing your plans. Options include using a trusted certificate authority, listed here, or electronically signing without the use of a certificate of authority through the method known as hashing files. Instructions can be found here. I do suggest, if nothing else, reviewing the rules for uploading before you upload plans and documents to your permit. Once you have understood the requirements for applying online, you are ready to go to CSS and apply online. Clicking Apply Here takes you directly to the list of applications available online. You can also get to CSS by typing mbselfservice.com. Please note that this is a citywide application system, so it's not just building applications here. To see only the building application, click on Show Categories, All, Permits, and Building. Be mindful of the category name. Here is the category name when selecting a permit to apply for, because there are public works permits as well that have similar names to the building permits, such as pools, and driveways. You may be required to also get a public works permit. But if your intention is to apply for a building permit, please make sure that the category you are selecting says building. Currently, the building department has 25 applications online. If the permit you need to apply for is not specifically listed here, then use the Building Online application, BOA for short, including for fire permits or of what permit application to select. Most recently, as of Tuesday, we added applications for revisions to issued permits, generators, AC changeouts, and re-roofs. We also added an application to use for when you need updates to your permits, such as renewals, extensions, cancellations, or change of contractors. That is the Permit Application Update, PAU for short, seen here. Read the descriptions carefully before you select Apply. The steps for all of these applications are essentially the same. One major difference is that if you are using the Building Online application, you should not upload anything on the BOA because documents are not reviewed on the BOA. The BOA is used only to enter the scope of work so that the actual correct permit type can be created. Once you receive the actual permit number, then you upload all documents on the actual permit. Now, if you're applying for one of these specific permit applications that are available here, then you may upload documents directly onto here. You might ask why we have the BOA instead of listing all the permit types here to apply directly. The reason is we have over 100 permit types, and more often than not, applicants apply for the wrong category, in which case you lose more time getting it fixed. Today we are going to apply using the BOA application, since that's the one there's always the most confusion with. And like I said, the steps are the same for all the applications. Click on Apply. Log in. If you do not have a login, click on Sign Up to create a login. Step 1 is to add a location. Click the plus sign. Enter an address or parcel number. When entering an address, it is better to put less than more. For example, if I enter 1700 Convention Center Drive and spell out drive, no results are returned. That is because the property search has drive abbreviated. So by entering less, I actually got the results I needed. Click Add to select the address and then press Next. Step 2. Enter a thorough description of the work to be done, as this is the description that will be added to the issued permit card. Enter the square footage of the work to be done and the job value. Do not include in this job value the cost of any mechanical, electrical, or plumbing sub-permits. The job values for those are to be included separately when those sub-permits are applied for. This is only the job value for the master permit. Click Next. Step 3, add the contacts. Whoever is logged in will be added as the applicant. The owner of the property must also be added. If you are the contractor that is applying, you must also select contractor from the drop-down to add another contact card for yourself as identified as the contractor. If you do not use the drop-down to select contractor, then you will not show up on the permit card as the contractor. Select the contractor type. Click the plus sign. And first try searching by a license number. If the license number or search does not result in a contractor showing up, then the contractor is probably not registered and should follow the steps found on the building department website to get registered. Additionally, anyone else that needs access to manage the permit should also be added as a contact. Once all the contacts are added, hit Next. Step 4 is the More Info screen. Here you will find notices and certifications that you must agree to, and you must fill in the fields below. Master permit number and violation if applicable, the permit request type, the permit type more specifically, again more specifically the work class, the property information, this field is optional, revisions, if you are requesting a revision, enter the number of pages being revised, and any of these that may apply. Finally, you must agree to the terms and conditions stated above. Once complete, click Next. Step 5 is the attachment screen. Again, as stated before, for the BOA, there's no need to attach anything here because attachments are not reviewed on BOAs. This is just an information gathering vehicle. Now, if you were on one of the specific permit applications, then you would attach any applications, any documents, any plans you have here. To do so, you click on the Add Attachments plus sign, and you may select multiple files to attach. But since we are on a BOA, we are not attaching any documents here because they will not be reviewed anyways. So I'm going to remove them and just skip past this section. And last is step 6, which is the review and submit page. Review everything that was entered, and you may submit or go back if anything needs revising. Once all looks good, hit submit. And you will find the success message and a $50 fee. The $50 fee must be paid before the application is reviewed, and the $50 fee is applied to the fees on the actual permits. Once the fee is paid, the clerk reviews it and creates the correct permit type for the scope of work that was entered. The average turnaround time between customer submission and the creation of the actual permit is 24 hours. Once the permit is created, you will receive an email notification. You will also see the permit in your dashboard, and you can see it in the sub-record section of the BOA. Here we are on my CSS account dashboard. Here you will find all the permits you are a contact of. By clicking on View My Permits, I can look up the BOA that we just created, BOA 2107039. Here I can check the status of that BOA to see if the actual permit has been created yet. By going into the sub-records, I can see here the actual permit number created. I also received an email indicating that the permit number BR 2105139 was created as a result of the BOA I applied for. The BOA is now irrelevant and will be closed. And I can begin working on the actual permit number by clicking on the permit number. Once you have the permit and the fees, the upfront fees have been paid, the upfront fees are minus the $50 already paid with the BOA application. I can attach the document needed for review. Before attaching documents, it is very important to follow the instructions that we have on the website titled Rules for Uploading in order to ensure that what you are uploading does not get rejected at the gate. Here we are on my CSS account dashboard. Here you will find all the permits you are a contact of. By clicking on View My Here we are on my CSS account dashboard. Here you will find all the permits you are a contact of. By clicking on View My Permits, I can look up the BOA that we just created, BOA 2107039. Here I can check the status of that BOA to see if the actual permit has been created yet. By going into the sub-records, I can see here the Sorry, I'll give me a second. I think there is some technical difficulties again. 1 second. Actual permit number created. I also also received an email indicating that the permit number BR2105139
I also received an email.
created as a result of the BOA I applied for. The
As a
BOA
result
is
of the BOA.
irrelevant and will be closed. And I can begin working on the actual permit number by clicking on the permit number. Once you have the permit and the fees, the upfront fees have been paid, the upfront fees are minus the $50 already paid with the BOA application. I can attach the documents needed for review. Before attaching documents, it is very important to follow the instructions that we have on the website titled Rules for Uploading in order to ensure that what you are uploading does not get rejected at the gate. Let's take a minute to review what the gatekeepers are looking for in order to allow entry past the gate and into plan review. The rules for uploading can be found at www.miamibeachfl.gov/online permits. One, they're looking for plans to be grouped by discipline. So, for example, if you have multiple sheets for plumbing, then they should be combined and uploaded as one PDF file. Do not upload each page for plumbing separately. It should be one attachment with all the pages in that one attachment. So multi-page PDF is what we are looking for. Here's an example of files that are not grouped as a multi-page PDF. You would see them in your folders as individual sheets. Also, a PDF package, if you see something like what you see here as a PDF package, that is not acceptable. That is like a zip file and essentially are individual sheets. Second, staff is looking for valid digital signatures. A signature is valid when a green symbol is displayed in the signature panel of the file that is being submitted. If that green symbol does not appear, then staff will reject this file as not being digitally signed. Here are some examples of invalid submissions without a digital signature or invalid digital signatures. Either it has no digital signature, it's not verifiable or not present, or it's an image of a digital signature and not an actual digital signature placed on the document, or it is self-certified signature, whereas a yellow or a red icon shows on the file. Files must be digitally signed by a third-party certificate authority. Third, staff is looking that the document properties of the file indicates that the file allows adding markups. Not being able to allow adding markups will restrict us from being able to approve the files at the end or void them as needed. Here's an example of a file with the document properties set to restricted for the adding of markups. And last, staff is looking to check if the naming convention required is being followed. Files should be named according to the discipline or the contents of the files and the permit number. For example, if submitting architectural plans, the file name would be the permit number dash architectural plans. If any one of these 4 criteria we just went over is not met, then the files will be required for resubmittal, and the plan review will not start until all this criteria is met. So it is imperative, in order to avoid delays, that your files meet this criteria to begin plan review. To upload the files, go to the attachments section of the permit. You may notice that a copy of the on-site application is already under the attachments. You may print this copy and have it signed and notarized. You may also print a blank application from our forms webpage to fill it out by hand. It is important that the same description and job value that was entered into the online permit is the same on the application that is signed and notarized. Once the application is signed and notarized, you must upload the application into the attachments. Here you will see an application required attachments card. Click the plus sign, find your application, and add. Next, use the drop-down menu in the next attachment card to select the appropriate category for additional files you are uploading. For example, select architectural plan when adding architectural plans. A new attachment card will appear after each attachment to allow for as many uploads as needed. Plus sign. Continue to select the categories for the plans you are uploading. Add attachments. Find the appropriate plans or documents that you need to upload and attach. Once you hit submit, you cannot add or remove any files. Submit. You will have to confirm that you are sure you are ready to submit for review. Here you will find a success message. The file was uploaded successfully. If the file submitted meets the file acceptance criteria, then a plan review will begin. If it does not meet the criteria that we previously went over, you will receive a notification to resubmit, and the files here, these file cards, will have a resubmit button with an explanation as to why they were rejected. If the files were accepted, then you will see a review bubble appear here in this section. Right now, you do not see a review bubble because the review has not started yet. But once the files are accepted, then you will see a review bubble indicating that the first review submittal has been initiated. Here we see that my files have now been reviewed, indicating an exclamation mark to note that a file needs to be resubmitted. Click on attachments to see more information as to which file and why it needs to be resubmitted. The resubmit instructions state that the naming convention is incorrect. Please resubmit with the following naming convention. So here you will know that the clerk rejected this file because it did not meet one of the file acceptance criteria. As you can see, no review bubble has appeared yet because the review cycle has not begun because the file acceptance has not been completed. So I will use the resubmit button to select a file that follows the requirements. No problem. Here I have the file that is following the correct naming convention as required. Once I have that file, I hit submit. I have a success message that the file was uploaded successfully. And now once again, it will go to staff for file acceptance. Once the files have been accepted, you will see the review bubble appear here, and we can see all the reviews that are pending. They have a status of under review. As the reviews become resulted, you will see a pass or fail and comments here. The comments may be seen by clicking the drop-down menu once there is a result of fail. Submittal version complete is the last review to close out the cycle. If any reviews failed, then submittal version complete will fail. If all reviews have passed, then submittal version complete will pass. You cannot upload new attachments or resubmit files until the submittal version complete has been resulted in a fail. Once submittal version complete has a status of failed, then the system will open up to allow resubmission of files and upload of new attachments. Now I can see that the first submittal has been resulted and has failed. I can see that there are files that need to be resubmitted. First, go to the reviews section to read the reviewer's comments. By clicking the drop-down, you can see the comments of each reviewer here. Once you are ready to resubmit the documents per the corrections required by the reviewers, you can come back here to attachments and resubmit the files needed. You may also upload additional documents that may have been required. For example, permit intake review failed because it needed a cost affidavit to be uploaded. Again, when you are ready, you will come here to attachments to resubmit or upload new attachments. It is important to use the resubmit button if it is shown here in order to keep the file categories organized together. Not doing so will cause delays in the finalization process. Once you are ready, hit submit. The system requires that you acknowledge each failed submission, each failed review. Click the drop-down menu and use the toggle button to change this to acknowledge for each failed review. If you do not acknowledge each failed review, when you click next, it will not let you proceed. Once each failed review is acknowledged, you may proceed by clicking next. Then select the file that you are resubmitting. All files with the resubmit requirements will show up here. So you may have more than architectural plans. You may have electrical plans, mechanical plans that also need to be resubmitted. Those will all show up on the same page, and you must resubmit all the files. The system will not allow you to only resubmit one of the file categories. You have to resubmit all. Once they're all there, hit submit. You will receive a success message. If you need to add additional files, you may do so. Add the cost affidavit that permit intake was requiring. And once you have uploaded and resubmitted everything that is needed, you may hit submit. Doing so will disable the ability to upload files for this session. After the second round of files have been submitted, I can tell they've been accepted because the second review cycle has begun. I can see that because the workflow shows that this second review is blue. I can also come here to reviews and see that this is the second cycle. This was the first one that failed. This is the second one that has now been received and now has just the remaining reviewers that previously failed listed here. Once that review has been completed, then I will see the results here. You may go through multiple cycles of resubmission until the reviews are all passed. Please note, after 3 failed submittals, a 3-time review meeting is required. Now, checking back on my permit to see the status, go back to reviews, and I can see that all the reviewers have passed. However, submittal version complete is still under review, and that is the final step before finalization of the plans with the approval stamps and the final invoice in order to have this permit status changed to issued. The turnaround time between all of the past reviews and getting the submittal version complete passed is about 24 to 48 hours on average. Here's an example of a permit that does have submittal version complete passed. Once you see this passed, then you will see the approved set of plans and documents in the attachments section of the permits. And you'll see notes here that says approve drawings. So this is your approved sets that should be on site for inspection. You can click here to open the file, print it out, and have it on site. These should have also the compliance stamp on there that the inspectors look for. You will also see fees due for the final invoice. These fees due must be paid. Once they are paid, the status will change to apply to issued. And you will also see the permit card and work permit in the attachment section once it is issued. Once the fees are paid, you will see the status changed to issued. You have an issued date here. And under attachments, you will find the building permit card and the building work permits. Finally, in order to call inspections, you may come here to the inspection bubble. You also can see the available actions here on what inspections are available to be called. Click Request. Select your requested date. Enter any comments. Your contact name, phone number. And submit. Your inspection is now scheduled. To review the scheduled inspections or to cancel a scheduled inspection, you may go back to the inspection bubble and click Cancel Inspection. You can also find more information on that inspection by clicking on the link here for the inspection ID. All right, so we got through this. Thank you all for your patience. It's about 3 o'clock now, after 3 o'clock. So let me answer some of the questions here in the post. Let's see what we have here. Daniela asked, you said this presentation had some changes due to updates in the system. Is this the exact same presentation uploaded to that link, or will it be uploaded soon? So this recorded presentation will replace the previous presentation that we have posted on our website, www.miamibeachfl.gov/online permits. What has changed? What has changed here are a few things. So in the beginning of the presentation, I showed you some new permit types that were added to CSS for direct application. So rather than going through the extra step of having to use the BOA, we added some permit types on there. So that kind of alleviates that step. You just directly apply. So we added generators, we added roofing, we added AC, and we added revisions. We also added for permit application updates, such as change of contractor or renewals or extensions. So that was something new. Fire permits will also be added on there soon. Right now for fire permits, you need to use the BOA as well. Something else that was updated in the system was the acknowledge button that is required when you have a failed review. So that was updated probably a month or two ago. So you may have seen it already, you may have not, but I wanted to share that. I wanted to reiterate the resubmit button. That is very important to use. That's also kinds of new. And the review bubble, that's one that I get a question about often, is when the system was upgraded, the review button isn't always there. The review bubble is only there once the review cycle has actually began. We also created some email notifications to kind of make it easier for you to see the progress and status changes and track the permit. So those were some of the changes I wanted to share. Miguel asked if we have already made a BOA, uploaded documents and drawings, and paid upfront fees, how can we change information on the BOA? Specifically, the job value is the information we would like to change. So once you've updated you've put in all the information and you've hit submit, there is no way for you to change anything like on your end. Your options are, you can email buildinginfo@miamibeachfl.gov and they can help you with some of those changes. You can also, you would have to resubmit that application, and depending how far along you are in the process of the permit determines if you would be able to update that job value. But your best bet for that is to upload a new application, an updated permit application with the updated job value, and then that can go through review and see if that job value can be changed. Let's see what else we have here. Daniela, you asked, it will be posted in the link you sent before. Yep, we post all of our webinars and instructional videos and instruction guides at www.miamibeachfl.gov/online permits. It's the training webinars. Yes. Ceci, I hope I answered your question about what was actually new. Okay, good. Miguel, thank you. Daniela, you asked, can I create an account without all the company information or license numbers? So to create an account, so there's creating an account for a contractor. If your question is for a contractor, that's like a two-step process, right? So the contractor should have a CSS account so that they can manage the permit by logging into CSS and have access to it. But if they're a new contractor, you need to submit their license and insurance information via email. So for that, I'm going to post the email address here, but it's buildingcontractor@miamibeachfl.gov. And so once you email the license and insurance to buildingcontractor@miamibeachfl.gov, they will link that information and the license number to the CSS account that was created. So it's a two-step process. Now, if it's not a building contractor and they don't have any licenses, maybe it's an expediter or a homeowner, then you can create the CSS account and just put in their email address and all their basic contact information. Thank you for that question. And we have all the information on registering also on our website, www.miamibeachfl.gov/building. Okay, thank you all for the questions. I'll stay on a few more minutes. Again, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties in the beginning. You know, you try to do everything possible to mitigate that, and you still have trouble. But I'll stay on and answer any questions. And this will be posted on our website. Daniela, if I want to run a permit for a friend's contractor, I can create an account with my email and run a permit. Yeah, you'll basically be acting like as a permit expediter. So if you would create a CSS account, a login, and you would apply, and then when you're applying for the permit, in the contact information section, you would have your information on there, and then you would have to add the contractor as a contact as well. So both your information will be there. Now, I guess if you don't want your information, you can ask your contractor friends, to log in, and then you can help them with the steps of applying. Okay, Francesca, when using a hash signature, is it also necessary to have handwritten signatures on the drawings? So for the hash signatures, yes. The hash signature requires you, let's go back, let me just check it out for a second. I believe that one requires you to sign. There's a signature page that has to sign, and then I just have to double check if every page needs to be signed, but definitely there's a signature report that needs to be signed, and then the front page of the plan set needs to be signed. Let me try to do something here. Hold on. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you. So I'm going to let me get out of this presentation. Right, so here I am in the online permits page, and I believe there's information here on which ones needs to be signed. Yeah, so when hashing files, there's the signature report that needs to be signed, and you can find that here. And so that requires a hand signature. Yeah, so I know for certain that the first page of the set needs to have the stamp and the signature, and I know all the pages need to have the stamp, but I will double check if every page needs to have the handwritten signature, like every drawing, and I will get back to you, Francesca. If you could send me your email, I will respond to you with the exact information. I'll also post it on the web. No problem, Miguel. Once I know, I'll probably also update here this website to make it more specific. It's helpful to know what the questions are so we can update our website for the benefit of all. Thank you. I will send you both emails. Thank you, Francesca. I appreciate you being here. And I'll stay on about 4 more minutes until 3:20 in case there are any more questions, but you can always email me. My email is natasha.diaz@miamibeachfl.gov. And our contact info can also be found here. In case you missed it in the beginning of the presentation, we have all our contact information here with specific email addresses for certain topics and also our email addresses for specific staff. All right, thank you everyone for the time. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.